Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Is my PowerPoint presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Uh, a very good morning to everyone, and thank you for giving such a wonderful opportunity to put awareness or light on the topic ergonomics at workplace, which is the need of the hour to have a very healthy professional life. So thank you for giving this opportunity. Okay, shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're able to see my slides, PowerPoint slides.
Yes, ma'am. It's
Oh,
visible.
before we start, we'll have a short introduction about this topic and the importance why to follow the ergonomics is the need of the hour. So normally, I think the few students, fewer of the students and fewer in the professional world. So definitely, if you are aware of this topic right now, so definitely it will help us to increase our work efficiency. So, as we see your job profile, you need to spend 8 to 9 hours of the day sitting in front of the computer. Plus, when you reach home, also you give your few hours for your work. So, normally sitting for a long time definitely has some effects on our posture, which is called as a negative effects. So, there are some postural changes which definitely would decrease our work efficiency and the output of the work is also affected. That is, the working hours can be reduced because of the problems which we face due to the faulty sitting. So normally the problems when we which we face are the rounded shoulders. Then there is a pot belly, that is a protrusion of the abdominal area, which we also called as obesity. Then there are headaches because continuously you are exposed to the laptop screens or desktop screens. So definitely it strains your eyes as well as that why it causes headache. Then you also have faulty neck postures because if you protrude your neck, that also causes headaches and neck pain. So there is also a muscle fatigue. The reason for the muscle fatigue is that when you sit in a faulty posture for longer time, definitely you strain your muscles. So the muscles work efficiency is reduced. That is also termed as a fatigue. And the other issues are back pain, neck pain, and overall body pain. See, if these elements are not taken care of within time, it can lead to the permanent change that in the spinal cord, and also there are chances of increasing in the cardiovascular problems. So that can be really be fatal. So if we don't want to reach to such a stage, so ergonomics should be a part and parcel of your life. A conscious effort should be made to follow those ergonomic advice which are given by the expertise. That is, the physiotherapist can very well guide you about these ergonomics which are needed to be followed. To the next slide. Okay. So poor sitting posture, as I mentioned, it has a long negative effect. So if you are entering into the professional world, or if you are a part of the professional world, it is better that if you have any basic symptom, like initially if you are having any back pain, neck pain, it is better for a sore wrists or fingers, because the involvement of fingers and wrist occurs because you are continuously using your mouse or keypad. So if any of the symptoms exhibit, initially don't neglect those symptoms. Immediately consult a physiotherapist and take an idea of the proper ergonomics at that time itself, because aggravating the conditions may lead to the complications which might take time to recover. So it is better that initially you get exposed to the physiotherapist for the guidance of the proper office ergonomics. Now basically, what, if we consider the ergonomics, how you are going to define ergonomics, that it is a applied science branch in which we go for the analysis of the job profile of the individual, and on that basis we give a proper advice that how your chair design should be, how your workstation should be framed so that it does not cause stress on your back, neck, and you don't land up into the major issues regarding this problem. So basically, for your safety and for your work efficiency to be increased, this ergonomics is a very good branch, and now it is recently the most upcoming branch, because normally we, or as a human being, we don't want to go for the medicines because it has its own side effects. So to avoid all these things, if you follow this ergonomics and basic few exercises which can be done in chair itself, So that avoids your lots of problems, and definitely you will have a healthy and fit life. Okay. So next. Now before that, we'll go through the some devices which you need, like you need a chair. So how a chair should be, then a keyboard, a mouse, which is commonly used by you people. Then we'll go for the desktop, how it should be, then the monitors, the screen, everything will go into one step by step, and you will understand how it should be for the comfortable work lifestyle. Okay. Now first we'll go for the chair. This I'm giving you in very brief. Later and we'll go into the details how the proper ergonomically designed work unit should be. So this is just the introduction. So for chair, ideally you should have a chair which provides you appropriate back support. Okay. Second thing, the ideal height of the chair is that your feet should be in contact with the floor. If you have any issues regarding the height, you can use a footrest. In short, your feet should be really be supported appropriately. And then third important position while sitting is that your thighs should be placed parallel to the floor. That is very important. This is because it does not strain your muscles and you will have a comfortable work pattern or a sitting posture. And the fourth and the important thing is that you have to adjust your armrest. Why? Because your arms should be completely supported on the armrest. That is the reason is that once your arms are supported, definitely reduces the strain on your shoulder, and we would not get affected with the shoulder pathology. So that is one of the most important thing which you have to follow when you are sitting on a chair. The next aspect is the keyboard and the mouse, which is a very commonly used by the students as well as by the professionals. So basically, the five important things which you have to follow regarding using your keyboard and mouse is that the mouse should be within your easy reach, so that you did not have to move far to access the mouse. Then second, the mouse and the keyboard should be placed on the same surface, so that reduces the strain on your hand muscles as well as on the shoulder muscles. Then second thing is when you're using a mouse or a keypad, your wrist should be in the neutral position, that it should not be flexed or extended. That is, you should keep straight. In simpler words to explain. Okay. Then third and important criteria is that if you're considering your upper arms, they should be placed close to your body so that it doesn't strain the upper arm muscles too. And one more thing is that when you're typing, your hands should be at or slightly below the level of the elbow. So I'll show you in this diagram how the position should be, but these are the basic instructions you have to follow. One more thing that now normally we are very aware of the keyboard shortcuts for your functioning of the laptop. That is most preferred use rather than the use of the mouse, because it won't strain your muscles and it becomes easy, so your reach out level does not increases for that particular instrument, that is a mouse. Okay. Then next important instruction is that you have to adjust the sensitivity of mouse. That is, it should not become difficult for you to use the mouse. A light touch can access your mouse, so that is one more thing. Then other option that is available, that you can use alternate hands. Once you are using the right, if you feel there is a fatigue in the right hand, you can opt for the left hand for the use of the mouse and the keyboard both. So this reduces your fatigue level on both the hands. That is called as the adjustment, which is done an alternative arrangement. Okay, we move for the next slide. Then third thing comes your footrest. See, now it depends that if your chair is too high, then you can use a footrest so that you can adjust your thigh position. That should be parallel to the ground. Okay. So this is how you are going to adjust. If it is too high, use a footrest so that your feet are supported on the floor. That is very important. And if the footrest is not available, which is attached to the your table, so instead of that availability is not, then what option can be used is that you can use a small stool. But one precaution you have to take when you are using this tool, see to it that your thigh is parallel to the ground. So that is very important instruction which has to be followed when you are using a stool. The footrests are actually, they are prepared ergonomically, but when you are using this tool, this instruction has to be really taken care of. Okay. Now we'll move for the desk on which your laptops or computers are placed. So very important instruction is that The desk should have a clearance so that you can place your knees, thighs and feet under the desk clearly, and it should be very comfortable. So that is one of the most important instructions. Second, if your desk height is too low, if the desk height is not adjustable, then what options can be done? You can use wooden blocks to raise the height of the desk so that you can place your knees, thighs and feet comfortably under the desk. This one modification can be made. Third thing is that if your desk is too high, so what you can do is you have to keep a adjustable chair so that you can raise the height of the chair as per your comfort, and so that the knees are comfortably placed under the desk. So this thing can be done. Then you can use a footrest if it is needed. If you have available footrest, then no issues. If you're not comfortable with it, you can opt out. If you're not use also, that's also fine. One more thing, normally if you feel that the desk has a hard edge, so you have to use a protective pads or a mouse pad so that it doesn't hurt your wrist. That is one more modification which you can make for a comfortable working. For the monitor, this is the most important thing for which you are exposed for the maximum time. Okay, so very important instruction is that you have to place the monitor directly in front of you. That is, your vision should be directly in front of the monitor, and the distance should be an arm length away. You should measure your arm length and you should place the monitor at that distance. Where you are sitting, from that you have to place it arm length away. Okay. The second and foremost instruction is that the screen should be slightly at or below the level of the eye. There are two options. You should place it at the eye level or slightly below the eye level so that it doesn't strain your eyes. So this is one more instruction. Third, the monitor should be directly behind your keyboard. So it should not happen that you are placing monitor at one side, you are placing the keyboard at other side. Definitely it is going to strain your wrist, arm and shoulders. So you can land up into this pain very easily if you don't place your keyboard in front of the monitor. And those who are wearing bifocals, you should lower the monitor height additional 1 to 2 inches. That is for your comfortable reading. So these instructions you have to follow regarding the monitor. Next, we'll go for the proper sitting posture. Now, before we start, we have two aspects which are to be considered. This is only when you're sitting and you're not working, you're taking a break. So that time, how you're going to sit, that is very important. And in the next aspect, I'll be covering when you're working, how your posture should be. So these are the 2 points which we are going to cover. So we'll go for the proper sitting posture. Now, in this, first thing is that you have to sit straight so that you should not bend from the back, or you should not move too much forward towards the screen. That will strain your back. This is the first thing. Second, when you see your shoulders, they should be really pulled back. This is. If you keep the shoulders in this way, it is going to strain your shoulders. So definitely they should be pushed back. Okay, and third and most important thing, when you're sitting, your buttocks, that is the seat area on which the weight bearing occurs when you're sitting, it should be in contact with the end of the seat so that it supports your lumbar region. So you won't land up into the back pain. So this is the first instruction you have to follow. Second, now we have done with the back, shoulders. Now we'll go for the neck region and the head. So ideally, your neck and the head should be in upright angle. Right? In other words, you can say it should be a bit neutral. Okay. And if you want to confirm that whether the position which you have maintained is correct or not, you have to align your ears with the shoulder. So your ears should be in line with approximately in line with your shoulder. So this is the self-assessment technique from which you can confirm that my neck position or my head position is ideal, so that it does not strain my neck and it does not cause me headache. Third thing, tilting the head forward just 15 degrees. This is how, if you move too much forward, see now I am in a neutral position. If I take my neck forward, it increases your pressure on the neck, and definitely it is going to cause you muscle fatigue in the neck. It is going to cause you pain. Even after certain time, it is going to strain your neck, and you might land up into this increase in intensity of pain in the neck as well as your head might also ache. So to avoid this, you should keep a neutral neck position or in the upright angle. Okay. Then next thing is that avoid leaning to any side. Means if you want to take any object, preferably keep all the things in your vicinity. Means if you need a book or a file, don't keep it away, because if you want to take it, you have to lean. So that also strains your back and neck. So you have to avoid that. And very important instruction is that when you are sitting, you see to it that you distribute the equal weight on the hips. So means if you tilt onto one side, definitely my body weight will be on the right side of the hip. So avoid that. Have an equal weight on both the hips so that you have to sit very straight. Okay. Okay. Now other instruction is that you have to keep your knees at a 90-degree angle. This can be done, or if it is not possible, the other way around is that you can slightly lower down your knee. Then, but with whom you will compare? Along with the hip position. So, if we consider the hip as a landmark, so slightly lower down so that it becomes really comfortable to sit. The other instruction is that when you are considering the edge of the seat or the chair, you should slightly keep a 2 to 3 inches gap. The reason behind this is that, see, it reduces the pressure below the knee joint as well as underside of the thigh. So a slightly 2 to 3 inches gap should be kept between the edge of the chair and your knees to avoid the pressure. Because it happens that under the knee are blood vessels, or you can say nerves, they are really very superficial. So it might strain your knees and you can land up into the pathologies related to the nerve involvement. To avoid that, definitely you should keep a 2 to 3 inches small gap. Okay. Then next is that use of footrest is mandatory so that it relaxes your feet and it does not strain your thigh and back. That is very important. Next is avoid sitting with the cross leg, because once you sit in the cross leg position for a longer time, it restricts your blood flow, because it creates a pressure on the blood vessels, and definitely if the blood flow is reduced, the nutritional requirement of the muscle is not completed and we might land up into fatigue very quickly. So avoid sitting with your cross leg. And a very important instruction is avoid sitting for longer than 30 minutes of time. See, if it is not possible for you to get up from the chair every 30 minutes, at least move behind, have some small stretches, or you can just extend your legs, basic exercises, what can be done when we talk to you. But just do some movements and then you can resume back your work. Now this is the most important aspect which the professionals or the students might need to know. When you are working with the computer, how should be your sitting position? That is very important, because if you want to avoid any complications related to the musculoskeletal injuries, that is joints and muscles, this ideal thing has to be followed. One more thing I would really like to bring you to notice is that once you have been made aware by the expertise about this ergonomics, it should be your conscious effort to follow this, because it will be beneficial for you to avoid the further complications and definitely have a healthy life and good work efficiency. Okay, so if you go for a good sitting posture, see, when you're sitting in front of a screen, basically you have to take care of two, three things. That is your optimal distance. That is the distance between the eyes and the monitor. This is the first thing which you have to consider. Second, how are you placing your arms? How are you sitting on the chair? The availability of the footrest, the back support, the neck position, all these things are really important and you have to take care of all these things. Okay, so first we'll go for each and every aspect. First is the neck and the monitor position. So in that, as I mentioned earlier, you can place your monitor so that the screen is at the eye level or slightly below it. And those who are using bifocal, they can place it 1 to 2 inches below. So this is one position. Then second, your screen or monitor should be in front of your eyes, so that you did not use your neck, or your neck movements are very much reduced if you place it exactly in front of your eyes. So it won't strain your neck. Third, as I mentioned earlier, monitor should be placed at arm length distance. If not possible to measure the arm length, the ideal measurement is 20 to 30 inches away. So you can set the monitor for a lifetime at your arm length distance of 20 to 30 inches. Then next, when talking on the phone, please use a headset or a speaker, because we have a very good habit of holding a phone between the neck and shoulder. So definitely that would really affect your neck, and you would at the early ages you can land up into the neck problems. So avoid this. Please use a headset or a speaker phone. Then, as I mentioned, never hold phone between your ears and shoulders, because it can lead to muscle strain, and this muscle strain can later lead to the joint pathology. So it might take some time to recover. But definitely, if you have a good chance, it is better to avoid. Prevention is better than cure always. So following the small instructions really helps us. Basically, if we see the body and chair positions. So basically, the major instruction is that your back should be in contact with the backrest of the chair. If the chair does not provide you the facility of lumbar support, in markets we also get a separate lumbar pillow. The motive behind this is that the lumbar curve which is available, it should be completely filled. The space between your lumbar region and the chair should be filled. So because it does not strain your back and you will have a comfortable work for that. Okay. Then second thing, sometimes in between you can recline your chair to 100 and 110 degrees. Why do you want to recline this chair? Because it reduces the tension on your ligaments and the muscles which are present at the back. So it is better. Sometimes we do when we have a revolving chair, we have a tendency to slightly extend. How do we feel? We really feel better. So ideally if possible, tilt your chair to 100 and 110 degrees to reduce the pressure on the spine and to reduce the stress on the ligaments of the back. And last and very important instruction is that keep your shoulders always relaxed. So you should slightly push back your shoulders so that it really helps you to relax your shoulder muscles. Now the most important aspect is your keyboard and the arm position. If you see in the diagram, first thing is that adjust the height of the armrest. So if you want to place your armrest, it should be placed in such a way that your elbows are bent at 100 to 110 degrees, so that it relaxes your elbow muscles or upper limb muscles. This is first. Second thing, when you are typing or when you are using a keyboard, it should be slightly placed lower than the elbows. Because why? If you see the green area which I have marked in the diagram, the majorly area strained while using the keyboard when you place it upright is that particular elbow joint and the wrist. But if you slightly place it lower down, the pressure on these two areas is reduced. That's why I marked it in green, because it gives a really relaxing effect, and definitely you can use the keyboard for a long duration without getting fatigued. So ideally always it should be lower than the elbow joint and your fingers should be pointing at the floor. Definitely if the keyboard is tilted, definitely your fingers also slightly point at the floor. Automatically the position occurs in that way. Second thing, as I mentioned, the keyboard should be really placed in front of you so that the twisting of the wrists does not occur from side to side or up and down. So definitely if you place it in front of you, definitely you are not going to strain the wrist. So this is one instruction. And second, use a keyboard palm rest as needed when you are not typing. This is because you need to support your wrists. When you are not typing, you always have a support to the wrist that does not cause wrist pain or any wrist pathology. The normal pathology which occurs in the computer users is carpal tunnel syndrome. So if you support your wrist, that is really as the age increases or as your working experience increases, this symptom, this condition becomes really severe. And definitely at certain stage you need to really take a break from your job for 10-15 days. To avoid this, it is better you take a prior care. Yes. Then As I mentioned earlier, instead of using a mouse, it is preferred to use a keyboard shortcuts. So it does not strain your wrist again. So the workload is also reduced and definitely it becomes easy for the joints to work for a longer duration. So this was the workstation which you need to follow when you're sitting and working with the computer. Before that, I have given you an ideal sitting pattern when you're not working. So normally what we do is that when we are working, we really consciously follow the ergonomic guidelines. But when we are off work and when we are sitting, I have seen maximum times that the ideal sitting posture is not followed. So consciously, it should be a habit to sit in an ideal sitting posture to avoid the further complications. Okay. Now we'll be seeing an ideal chair design. Okay. Now, before we move to the ideal chair design, this kind of chair is which we commonly use at our work site. So, if you see the components of the chair, there is a seat which I have mentioned, which is reflected in the diagram. Then there is a backrest. Then there is a pedestal base, that is with which we adjust the height of the chair. Then there is a 5 prong base, that is the 5 prongs you see, and there are attachment of the casters, that is the wheels. But preferably, if you're comfortable with wheels, you can go for the chair with casters or without casters. It's totally depends on you. But if you ask me, it is better if you opt for the 5 prong base chairs with casters, because it becomes easy for us to have a mobility, because so if you don't have casters, you really have to use your muscles to push the chair out and in. So it is better you opt for the chair with wheels. Then there is a tension adjustment for forward and backward inclination of the backrest. So as I mentioned, if you want to go for 100 and 110 degree inclination, there is a knob which is available by which you can adjust the inclination of the back. And there is one more important aspect, is the armrest. Always the armrest should be cushioned so that it does not hurt your arms and wrist. Now we are going to see. Now everyone says have a ergonomic chair, but if someone asks me what are the criteria or what are the features if you want to get an ergonomic chair or a well-designed chair, so definitely there are few criteria which you can keep in mind, and when you opt for any purchase of the chair, you should apply these criteria. Okay. So first and important criteria is the seat height should be really easily adjustable. So because you know what, every person sitting on the chair won't be of the same height. Some might be 5 feet, some might be 6 feet. So as per your requirement, you have to adjust the height of the chair. Okay. Then the backrest also should be easily adjustable to support the spine, and definitely there are two supports which are required for the spine. There is a vertical support that is provided by the lumbar support, which is or lumbar pillow, and there is a horizontal support. Horizontal support is when you move forward and backward. The proper support should be provided so that it does not strain the lumbar spine. Third, the seat should tilt forward and backward independently of the backrest. This is how you know the seat that is on which your buttocks are relying. If that is also movable, that would be really great, so that sometimes if you feel that you don't want to move with the backrest, then you can move the seat forward. That also gives you the inclination of 100 to 110 degrees for your lumbar spine. So both options are available, that would be really great. But if you ask me for the preferred option, then it is better to have adjustable backrest. Okay. Then next is the seat edge should be curved. And normally, why this is because to reduce the pressure at behind the knees. As I mentioned earlier, the important blood vessels of our lower limb, they really become superficial on the back side of the knee. So if your edge is not curved, definitely it is going to hurt those blood vessels which are become superficial. There are many other complications associated with that particular involvement of the blood vessels behind the knee. So to avoid that, definitely you should have a curved seat edge. Then second, see when you are sitting now, there should be a space where back of the chair and the seat. Why do you want the space? Because you know every individual has a different body structure. Some might be really thin, some might be really obese, on the verge of obesity. So the space should be adequate enough that the buttocks part of that particular individual should be comfortably accommodated in the chair. So that precaution also you have to take. It should not happen that if you don't have a sufficient space, definitely it leads to the complications like back pain, thigh pain, even you can have a knee pain. Sometimes it is going to strain your lumbar spine very badly. So to avoid all those things, the accommodation of your buttock should be really appropriate. Okay. Next is that the armrest. See, adjustable armrest it's very difficult for the availability of this option in the ready-made chair. But if you're going for a tailor-made chair, definitely you can ask for the adjustable armrest. That is, the height of the armrest can be adjusted. But if the option of the adjustable armrest is not there, then you can ask for a wider armrest so that it supports your arms very properly and it does not lead to the wrist pathology. So this can be kept as optional for adjustable armrest, but wider armrest should be a compulsory availability for the ideal ergonomic chair design. Next, in the diagram we have seen a 5-prong base that was with twisters and without twisters. The intention behind placing the 5-prong base is that it increases the stability of the chair. And definitely the chances of tipping, that is falling from the chair, are completely reduced. So you should opt for a maximum 5-prong base of support. Okay, because if you're going to sit on the chair for 8 hours, it should not happen that because of falling you're landing up into any injuries. So this is one of the factors which you need to really take care of. Then one more and very important instruction is that the availability of adjustments which is in the chair should be easily accessible for the worker so that he or she should be able to make the adjustment while when the person is seated, and that they should be made with the single hand, with one hand. So that accessibility should be really taken care of. And normally when you go for the ready-made chair, this facility is very well provided because you can increase the height with one hand, you can decrease the height, you can adjust the armrest height with one hand. You can lock the backrest with one hand, so it is very easily accessible. That is really taken care of when you opt for a ready-made ergonomic chair. Then now very important is that the fabric, because you are going to use the chair in different temperatures or different weather. So the upholstery fabric should be really comfortable. So it should reduce the heat transfer, that it should not make the heat should not increase when you are using in the warm climates or the static electricity. You know this concept very well. So when it's a cold weather, even if you move from object, you get a shock-like sensation. So that should be avoided in cold weather. And third is it should be stain resistant and it should be easily clean. So these are the basic 3 criteria which should be available for the fabric which is being provided with the chair. Then second and very important thing is that if the worker or the person who is going to use the chair is not aware about the adjustment, definitely a training session should be done. When you are purchasing a chair from any of the shop, make it mandatory that you are aware about all the functions so that the future use of the chair really becomes very easy. Okay, so you should be aware about all the knobs which are available, use of each knob, so proper training should be done. Now, before we end the session, that is before we go for the exercise session, there are some take-home message or important tips which you need to really keep in mind, and a conscious effort should be done to follow all these things. First, get up and take a break from sitting every 30 minutes. This you have to really follow. Second, incorporate standing periodically in your workflow. That is, if you stand for a few minutes, definitely you reduce your fatigue, you increase your joint mobility, all the stress levels are gone. That is, a change in position is very important. Third thing, move periodically and go for a walking or simple ergonomic exercise. So if you want to turn this break, that is which you are taking for the exercise, it is called as the exercise break. That should be a part of your routine. Then next, ensure that the room in which you are sitting is well lit. Lighting should be really good and it should not cause a glare on your skin, because if you have a glare, you are definitely, and there is a dim lighting, it fatigues your eyes. Hmm? So if you fatigue your eyes, then the dryness of the eyes occur and can lead to the further complications of the eyes. To avoid that, you need to take a break from the screen. So see, sometimes it happens that we are engrossed in our work so much that we forget to take a break. So if you go in the Play Store, there is a app which is available. It is called as 20-20-20 app. So you have to download it in your mobile, and definitely it gives you a signal that you have to take your rest for 20 seconds every 20 minutes, and you have to look 20 meters away. So this is why the term 20-20-20 is used. 20 seconds, 20 minutes, and 20 meters away from the screen or your laptop. So if possible, definitely if you're not able to put consciously, so you can install this app. It really works and it really helps. Okay. Definitely we'll see some live demonstration of the exercises which you can do in sitting. So these are the stretches which we are going to include. First will be the neck, then shoulder, then wrist, finger, back stretches and calf stretches. So these are the 5 important exercises which you need to do. Okay, just give me a second, I'll just make arrangement for your live demonstration. Just anyone can give me a feedback whether the visibility of my student Dr. Arya, is she visible?
Yeah, she is visible, ma'am, but I think if you put the PPT off, then
Yeah,
we will be able to see it
yeah.
the better.
Is she visible, ma'am?
She is visible, I think, a little bit back so that we can see the complete thing camera. Yes, ma'am. Right.
Okay, now?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we start, I would like to introduce, she is Dr. Arya. She is a final year PG student, so soon she will be also in the professional world. So she is going to demonstrate some exercises. So first we'll start with the neck stretches, which are commonly done when you are sitting in the chair. So, you are able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We are able to see.
The type of exercises we are going to show is all the self stretching which you can do on your own. Okay. So first, she has placed one hand on the left shoulder, and by using the right hand, she is stretching the left side neck muscle. See, see, she is pointing which muscle she is stretching. So this is called as a neck muscle stretches. Normally, you would ask me how many repetitions have to be done for these exercises. So you can go for 5 repetitions with 10 seconds hold, or if you're going for a 30 seconds hold, then you can go for 2 to 3 repetitions. And these exercises ideally are to be done after every 2 hours. So that conscious effort definitely has to be from our side to keep us healthy and fit. So this was the first exercise which was for the neck stretching. Clear with it, or you want me to repeat again?
We can repeat, ma'am.
Okay. And one more time. Yeah. See, she is placing her right hand on her behind the head. And she is tilting her neck and she is looking towards the floor. And with other hand she is holding the left shoulder and she is stretching the muscle. Okay, so this has to be done on the both sides. Either 2 to 3 repetitions with 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds hold, and 5 repetitions with 10 seconds hold. You have two options available. Okay. So shall we move for the next exercise?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we'll be going for the shoulder stretches. So she is placing both hands in front of the chest. While doing this, you have to take care that your shoulders and elbows are in the same line. Okay, that precaution you have to taken for the appropriate stretch to be felt. Okay, then she is moving her shoulders behind. So she is moving it behind so that when you feel the stretch, it will be felt on this particular part. Okay. So you can hold it for 30 seconds, for 2 to 3 repetitions, or for 10 seconds for 5 repetitions. Okay, so clear with this exercise?
Yes, ma'am.
We will be moving for the next and most commonly used joint is the wrist joint. So we will be showing for the stretches for the wrist and finger. So in that the joint, the muscle which you want to stretch. Now she is doing it for the right hand. So you have to keep the hand in the elongated position and you have to take your wrist down. And with the other hand you have to give pressure above the right wrist and fingers. So that when you feel the stretch, it is on this particular aspect. That is called as the forearm aspect. So normally it gives a very good relief when you stretch this. So one more time we'll show it for the other hand. And one more thing is that while doing this stretch, it should be done within your capacity. Don't overstretch because overstretching also can cause you pain. So once at the range which we are comfortable, it should be really stretched, not beyond that. Okay, so this is for your wrist and fingers. Then next we'll be going for the back stretch. Yes. In back stretch we have to sit erect and slowly she'll try to touch her hand to the floor or even to your feet. And you have to hold this position. Very important instruction while doing this stretch is that you have to do your normal regular breathing. Don't hold your breath. Okay? So normal inhalation and exhalation should be done. And then she will come up with the erect posture. Okay? So this is for your back. Clear?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And then we'll be going for the last stretch, that is for your lower limbs. So, okay, for lower limbs you have to elevate, make your leg, lower limb straight from your knee joint. And you have to take your ankle towards you. This is called as a calf stretch. Normally, sitting for a long time definitely causes pain in the calf. So this position really relieves your calf pain and your work efficiency will be definitely increased. So this is how you have to take your ankle towards you. See the way she is doing. She has taken her foot towards her side and you have to hold the stretch for 30 seconds or 10 seconds as per our comfort zone. Okay? So I think these are the exercises which can be done when you are at your job site or which can be done in chair itself. Okay. So here we end with our session. So it's open for questions. Any questions or any queries from your side?
Yeah, students, the session is open for question answers. You can raise your hand. And Divya, I request you to take the questions one by one.
Yes, ma'am.
पहले मैं करूँ क्या? Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Chetan, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, yes. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible, Divya?
Sorry,
Yes, yes, Chetan, you are.
can you be a bit loud?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the session. Ma'am, I just wanted to know how can we avoid these kind of injuries and while we are in the class, like
Sorry, you are in the.
class, ma'am, classroom.
Okay, it's very simple. See, what happens is when you are sitting in the class, ideally ergonomic design, there it is not possible. But the thing which you can do is you can sit erectly, okay? Then you can keep the things in your easy access so that it does not stain your joint. Because you know what I have explained you is the ergonomic care design, it is not feasible every now and then. So when you are sitting in the class, first thing you try to sit erect with proper back support, what may be the availability of support. Second thing, you keep your feet supported. That is, use of the footrest is very important. Okay. Third thing is that you should have an adequate neck clearance that under your legs. If it is that is not available, at least you can extend your feet and sit with a proper back support. So this is how you can sit. You can see me. See, I have extended my feet under the footrest and I am sitting this way. Okay, and very important thing for you being the students is that avoid carrying heavy bags on your back. So even if you're carrying a laptop or anything, see to it that you carry it in your right hand for a few minutes and in your left hand for a few minutes. This modification as a student definitely can be done. Okay, these are very see. Actually, this ergonomic design is for office, but some modifications can be done in your class to avoid the problems which you can face in your later age once you enter into the professional world. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any more questions?
Ria, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Your good
Hi,
name?
ma'am. Thank you for the amazing session. Ma'am, I had a small question. How
Okay.
can one maybe learn or implement an ergonomics in an organization, and means how as to if they have to start doing it
Okay, so
newly?
you want to execute in your professional world or in your teaching profession? How is it? If you're a student or you're a working professional?
Ma'am, maybe in college even, and also now we are doing our internship, so in office also.
Okay. See, what I would suggest is that first you need to have the knowledge. So you need to consult the expertise for the particular ergonomy because you know what the problems which we face is different from individual to individual. So once it is better if you consult the expertise, take the proper guideline, and definitely they tell you how to improve you in your particular job profile or even if you're a student. So definitely that has to be done with the consultation of the expertise. You can definitely approach me anytime. I'll give you a proper setup. I'll give you the written instructions so that you can execute it very well in your particular work environment. So it's very easy. See, some
Thank you,
modifications
ma'am.
we made from our side also. Even if the particular job profile or the particular institution doesn't provide you, but we can make it on our own so that it's for your better. So definitely you can consult me anytime. I'm always there for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any more questions?
Rahul, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes. So hello, ma'am. I wanted to ask that how does
Your
economics helps in
name?
reducing mental and physical stress at workplace?
Sorry, not audible to me.
Hello, ma'am. I'm audible now.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that how does economics helps in reducing mental and physical stress at workplace?
How does ergonomics? Sorry, you're not audible
Helps
actually.
in
Can you
reducing
come a bit
mental and
closer?
physical
Okay,
stress at
sir.
workplace.
What is your question? And
Ma'am, he is asking how does ergonomics helps in reducing mental or physical stress at workplace?
okay, see what happens is that when you're continuously working in the same static posture, right? You're sitting in the same posture for a long time. So definitely it is going to stress your body. So if we go for an ideal chair design, which covers your all the back curves, which supports your feet. So definitely it reduces your muscle fatigue because you know what the appropriate part, that is your lower limb, your back is supported, so muscles are really relaxed when, see, I'll give you one example. When you're standing for a long time, for say 2-3 hours, and when I give you a chair to sit, how do you feel? That your muscles are supported and really you feel relaxed. So that appropriate support is given in the ergonomics when making an ideal chair design. So definitely it reduces your muscle tension when you give proper support to the muscle. And remaining about the mental stresses, that continuously you are into the work, continuously on the laptops, your projects, your assignments, or whatever work you do. If you go for a recreational break or an exercise break, it diverts your mind for some time from that particular work. It gives you a break. You know what? Some companies they do provide a time for a game. They place a carrom board, or they give a time for rest. So definitely diverts your mind from your work stresses, and this is how your mental stress is reduced. And third thing is that your eyes also get a break. So that relaxes. Once your eyes are relaxed, that reduces your headache also. So in this way, a break from your work and engaging yourself into the other activity, whether it is exercise, whether it is a recreational activity, there is a concept which has been recently introduced is a micro breaks. So you take a break every 30 minutes or 1 hour to and engage yourself. You take a walk. You can stand up in your open area. You can have a fresh air. You can breathe. So really diverts you from your work and gives you a really mental relaxation. So this is how the ergonomics helps to reduce your mental stress and physical stress both. Clear with it?
Thank you, ma'am. Yes,
Any
ma'am.
more questions?
Elishika, you may
Yes,
unmute
ma'am.
yourself and ask your question.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the amazing session. My question to you is, can ergonomics be practiced at home?
Ergonomics we practice at
Home.
Of course, why not? You can. So that's why, see, what happens before practicing the ergonomic, we need to take an idea of your setup at the home. How is your workstation at home? The way you're sitting, the mode of sitting which you're using. You're sitting on your bed, you're sitting on your chair. If you give me that idea, definitely it can be easily practiced at home. Because I being a therapist, I do follow the ergonomics at home also. Even in my clinic, at my home, and even in my college. So everywhere we can execute the ergonomics very easily. But before that, you need to give me some idea about your workstation at the home. How is the work setup? You can.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Any more questions?
Himangi, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Divya. My question to you, ma'am, is why an important element in the ergonomics process?
Sorry?
Why is training an important element in the ergonomics process?
Sorry, I'm not able to get you. Why training?
Why is training an important element in the ergonomics process?
Training element. Okay, see what happens is that when you take opinion of the expertise, we know okay, when you're sitting in a particular posture, which muscle is strained. To particularly avoid that involvement of that particular organ or muscle, you need to follow some ideal things. So before that, if you are not aware of the body mechanics, it is better you take the opinion of the expertise, how things are to be followed, how things are to be executed. So, because we as a therapist give you the ergonomics on the basis of your posture correction, what correction is required. So definitely we have the knowledge of body mechanics, and we as a therapist teach you how to execute those things. For that purpose, training is important because you people might not be aware of the muscles involved, which position relaxes which muscle, in which position which muscle is strained. For that purpose, you should have the basic knowledge. That's why the training is important. Otherwise, anybody can definitely sit the way he or she wants, but definitely that won't achieve the purpose which we are here for, right? So that's why training is important. Okay? Yeah, any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. I have
Yeah.
a question and it is connected to Elishaba's question. Am I
Hmm.
audible properly?
Yeah, you're audible.
So Elishaba asked whether what are the norms for uh, ergonomics at home. Okay, so you said
What is the no?
ergonomics workstation. I mean, a workstation or workplace which is good at home also. Like we say in office, workplace. But now what has happened is over the 2 years, work has been shifted at home.
Yes.
So definitely we need to think of that, and more often than not, we choose our place of sitting as our bed or something, and we keep our laptop on our laps, and then we work for quite some time. So
Yes.
from whatever we have heard right now in the session, it means that keeping the laptop on your lap and working is not advised at all.
Yes.
Or if, yeah, if we do it, if you can just highlight what are the long term harm that it will cause if you use continuously or using your laptop, you sit on the bed and you keep your laptop and then you have pillows to rest at the back because that's a comfortable position. But definitely from what we've heard of in today's session, I feel
Hmm.
that is going to cause some harm. So if you can quickly highlight, then I
Yeah.
think, yeah, all of us
See,
will benefit.
ideally, sitting on the bed is the most incorrect posture when you're working for a longer duration. So, ideally, if you sit on the bed, definitely the problem which occur is that you land up into severe neck pain. There is a condition which is called as trapezitis, which normally the IT professionals or the one who are using computers face those problems very severely. So trapezitis is that the neck muscle present here, it becomes really tight and it becomes so painful when you go for the neck movement. This is one of the most commonest complications which occur when you use or you work in the inappropriate posture. Second thing is that you land up into your severe back pain. Initially it is at the muscular level, but later on if you don't take care and if you continue to sit in the same posture, it goes to the bony involvement, that is the spinal involvement, and later on it goes for the intradiscal involvement. Intradiscal is that it is a disc which is present between the spinal vertebral column. So that is very important. So once it starts at the involvement of the discal level, the disc comes out of the two vertebrae or there is a compression of the disc. So if you land up to such a level, the back movement also becomes really painful. Then you need to go for a vigorous physiotherapy, lifetime precautions you have to take, then you have to go for the lifetime exercises to maintain it, because once the bony changes occur, they are not recoverable. So you have to maintain the status of the condition as it is. So you have to avoid the progression or either you have to avoid to increase the severity of the condition. That's why the following ergonomic advice is very important. So definitely home ergonomics also can be done, but you need to meet me once. Definitely I'll give you each and every instruction how the ergonomics has to be executed at home to avoid these complications to become more fatal. Even some have gone into mental issues also, that is, have landed up into depression, they have gone into psychological problems. So this is the extreme stage where it occurs when you don't follow this ergonomics. So it is not only related to the musculoskeletal issues, but it is related to cardiovascular problems, that is heart issues. Because we are sitting for a long time, you don't go for exercise, you consume a number of food items, so the deposition of the cholesterol, which we call it, occurs in the heart level, and you have become very prone to the heart issues. Normally, one of my patients was just 35 years old, so he was not taking the precautions which we had advised him, and he had got a massive heart attack in the job site itself. So these are the extreme level complications which do occur. So this is the right time to make the ergonomics consciously a part of your life to keep you healthy for a when you cross 70, 80, you will really be fit and fine and independent. So try to make it as a part of your routine.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the answers. And I'm very sure that this session was an eye opener for most of us. We were aware partially, and your session has thrown light on a lot of smaller and finer aspects, I think, which we all should take care of. We invest in life insurances and we make sure that we invest properly, long-term benefits, but we overlook these smaller things which we take our own body for granted. And I think your session was very useful in terms of how we compromise little positions and how long-term effects are going to cause us health issues in the later stage. And I also thank Dr. Arya for the lovely demonstration.
Yeah, Arya,
Yeah.
she's here. You can thank her personally.
Yeah. I would just like to request our student Divya Gandhi to propose the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, Divya.
If you still have
Yes,
any
thank
queries
you,
after
Pradnya
her,
ma'am.
definitely you can meet me anytime. I am in Deccan Education Society Physiotherapy College, Brijlal Jindal College of Physiotherapy.
Yes. Yes, Divya. You can proceed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It is my immense pleasure to present vote of thanks. I, Divya Gandhi, on behalf of Deccan Education Society (IMDR), would like to thank you, ma'am, for giving us time and giving us insights on ergonomics at workplace. Ma'am, your thoughts have really inspired us. As mentioned in your talk, as you mentioned in your talk about proper office ergonomics, the proper sitting postures, and the demonstration of the exercises were very helpful to us. Surely this will help us and guide us in our future endeavors. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would also like to thank our director, faculty, and non-faculty teaching staff for continuously encouraging and supporting us for such corporate connect. I thank the entire student organizing team, technical support, and last but not the least, I thank all my students, colleagues, without whom the sessions wouldn't have been successful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
Divya.
giving me the opportunity, and thank you Pradnya ma'am for organizing such a wonderful event.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rutuja and Dr. Arya. And I hope we have more connect in future. We have a connect through the Deccan Education Society. So I look forward to many more wonderful sessions like these. Thank you so much. Students, please fill up the feedback form that is there in the chat. Okay, that would help us to organize sessions like these in future. Thank you, ma'am. So we will
Thank you
end the
so much.
session. Thank you.